Welcome back to Sunday Vibes 1 and all. We're back live in the Rookery pub on Clapham Common. It's an OG lineup today. How are we, gentlemen? Look at this, colour coordination.
Yeah, autumnal colours.
Is it?
I just got hugely distracted because that bloke walking past there looked a little bit like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you boys?
Yeah, very good actually. Very cold in London today, isn't it? I cycled down here. It was not long getting frostbite.
It is.
Honestly, absolutely freezing. How about you?
I'm all good, man. I'm fine. Yeah.
Is this new?
No.
Okay, I ask you every week, and every single week is a no, but we'll press on, shall we? Because this week's episode is brought to you. They're back, ladies and gentlemen. Manscaped are in the building, taking care of business down there.
Yeah, point at groin. I actually put that in the script.
Specifically.
Yeah, in
Point at groin.
2022. Any exercise you guys are doing recently? Any grooming that you've changed?
I have been going to the gym, exclusively using the spa facilities though at the moment. Went in the sauna the other day, and I tell you what, after you come out of the sauna, you do think about your balls a little bit more. Because they are, I'm getting to that age where they're starting to hang.
How are we on this conversation already?
If I'd have taken the Manscaped toner with me, I'd have get that a few squirts.
What does that do? Does that just lift them up?
I guess it tones them.
You do it and they go up like a lift.
It's like a press up for your butt.
I'm trying to get back in the gym. I've been quite inconsistent since my baby was born. I just don't have any free time. So yeah, I'm trying to get back in there. I'm thinking, I'm gonna go hard this year.
Oh, here we go.
Bing bong.
Literally, I'm just looking at what's included in the package. You should get hold of the pants, mate.
The anti-chafing
The
bad boys.
anti-chafing
I've got
boxes,
them.
mate.
Got them.
Yeah, I've got a set of those.
Yeah, give some to Darren as
They're
well
very
behind the
good.
bar, and everyone unanimously bloody loves them.
Because they cling, but not too much. Have you ever had the micromodal boxers where they genuinely form to your penis,
Yeah.
in a way that I find to be aggressive?
I mean, this conversation.
Do you not get the boxer
There's
thing
just
where
so
they-
much ball
Do you not
talk.
get, we're not talking about balls. Do you not get the thing where boxers though they literally roll up around your leg until you've basically got a
Yeah,
rubber
don't
band
don't
around
like
the top
that, I
of
agree.
each thigh? That's
Hold on.
horrific.
You've not reviewed this yet. I want your
I'm not. Don't you dare. put it on
Don't
me.
spray it, I'll get a headache.
one-word review.
Oh,
I've already done it. Joe and I were talking about this before.
it's good.
Yeah, you smell like a.
You smell better than
you
normal.
smell like a young boy.
Anyway, yeah, let's do the plug. By the way, I'm reading off my phone today because I forgot my iPad. I'm not trying to be rude here, but you guys at home can join 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, by the way, to help them bring in. Pat claims it's ringing.
Ringing the new year.
Bringing
is
the
a
new
saying.
year.
New year. You
It's
don't need to bring it in. It's not
bringing-
outside. It's not a dog.
It's bringing the new
Okay,
year with
it
the
is.
right
We'll move
tools
forward.
to do the job. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Is it ring or is it bring? I'm almost definitely wrong. Go to manscaped.com. Use the code FootballDaily20. You know the score. 20% off all products and free shipping. Now that was some plug, wasn't it? And I'm going to get a headache now you sprayed that. Too early for that.
Good.
Too early.
Great ad there.
Anyway,
Gives you a headache.
should we crack on with the show?
Manscaped.
No, not just Manscaped. All of these colognes give me headaches. They all give me headaches. People have come here for the football chat, so that is exactly what we're going to do. We are going to be talking today about free transfers we would like to see happen this window. We've also got free transfers you guys at home would like to see happen this window. We put out a tweet during the week. And some of the suggestions are laughable, absolutely comical. Don't bother tweeting in again if you suggested 3 of these.
This is the most ungrateful show
I'm not-
in the world.
it's
You're
not.
the guy who's like, I can't watch that film because it's too negative.
It's not, because the first one is Suarez to Villa.
Do you not want to see that?
Nobody
I think
wants to see
I think it's
that.
pronounced Villa.
Atletico Madrid fans don't want to see it. Villa fans don't want to see it. The rest of football don't want to see
I feel like Villa fans do kind
No,
of
they
see it,
don't.
they? They're kind of up for it because I saw Villa fans have been giving it the big at the whole transfer window. I saw so many Villa fans being like, Dean, Coutinho, we are doing Champions League level business, and I was just like, are you? You're doing 5 years ago Champions League level business. I like both. I don't really like Dean at the money they paid, but. Yeah, I don't know. Generally speaking, when managers try and get the band back together,
I thought you were
feel
saying
like it's
Dean then, and I was like, who have they signed called
Luca
Dean?
Dean.
But it's Luca Dean, yeah.
Luca Dean. Yeah,
Dean
but
Henderson.
yeah, I don't know. Whenever they're trying to get the band back together, I always get a bit worried because, especially in this case, I think Suarez has great goal scoring numbers at Atletico Madrid over the last however long. But the thing that's always kind of gone under the radar is people are like, he's been amazing at Atletico Madrid, and he has been amazing for goal scoring. But what he cannot do now is move. He can't move, he can't press, and that's fine because he's really old and he's played a lot of minutes and he's been an incredible player. He's always been a high energy guy as well. If you bring him in, I'm not really sure what he's meant to give you that you're not getting from somebody else. I think the people who should absolutely be in their starting 11 when everyone's fit, they have to play Buendia. they have to play Watkins.
Oh,
Maybe they have to play Coutinho. I feel like we still don't quite know what level
I think he'll
Coutinho is
rotate
at.
in and out Coutinho.
But we still don't know what level he's at, right? But as for Ings, even Bailey right now, and certainly if they were to bring him in Suarez, those guys I think they're not absolute necessities. And for a guy who's going to cost this much money, I feel like you kind of need to make sure that he's a necessity for
I think what makes this not feasible in the slightest is the fact that Villa have two strikers that can't play together at current in Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins. But when they do play together, the numbers haven't been great. So for one, like if Gerrard is going to persist with just one up front, which it looks like he might because he does prefer that 4-3-3. It does look like now he's moved from Rangers to Villa, who are, of course, a less dominant side in their respective division. Does look like he might go for a slightly more conservative 4-2-3-1. So he's already got a great backup to whoever starts up front for them, for one. So Luis Suarez, not sure how many minutes he would get if he came to Villa, which feels weird to say, but like Pat said, 34 now. Can't do the hard yards that will be demanded of him. 21 goals last season, so he's clearly still got it as a penalty box poacher. But the other thing is, Atletico also still kind of need him because João Felix has been in and out of the side. He's been injured at various points this season. Antoine Griezmann's been injured at various points this season. I think there's only 2 or 3 players that are over. I think there's only one player that's over 3 shots per night. That's Felix. Only a couple players that are over 2 shots per night. Luis Suarez is one of them. Angel Correa is the other. Griezmann is just about there. Like, they have not been good in attack this campaign. I think goals per night are down slightly, and they're conceding twice as many goals as they were in the league last season, which is a recipe for disaster
though, wasn't it?
if you're Atletico Madrid, right? Because they've never been a free scoring side, and they have relied on that watertight defence. And if that's not the case this season, maybe they will be a bit more dependent on Suarez making an impact from the bench or whenever he starts against the smaller sides, than they'd like to have been.
He's effective when he's on the pitch, isn't he? That's the key. And let's not forget,
he's effective, like Chris says, when he's in the penalty box getting on the
and
end
that's
of
also where Ings is effective.
8 goal contributions by
That's where Ings is at his best.
Yeah, I think that's true. Like, but I mean, the thing is, if this were like Brighton, you'd kind of be like, all right, park him in the box. You've got a bunch of guys buzzing around. You've just got to finish chances that come your way. But it just doesn't. These things don't marry at all.
I agree. I think the wages are a big issue for me. It feels like this has kind of been dispelled a little bit anyway.
Already,
I think Gerard Romero was the original journalist reporting this in Barcelona, who has supposedly got these ties to Luis Suarez, but the British press have kind of said this isn't going to be happening. Gerard's not interested in this, which seems to be coming more from Villa's side. And I just think Aston Villa could spend those wages in other areas. I think
260k.
Exactly. And you translate that to much less. That's what he's on at Atletico.
Allegedly.
Yeah, if you translate that and split it out into wages and a fee for someone else, they're obviously, it feels like, in my head anyway, I don't know whether this is true or whether I'm just making this up, are quite interested in Nat Phillips out of Liverpool. Okay. Obviously, Steven Gerrard's got very strong ties with Liverpool. Nat Phillips, I think he's actually like a bog standard Premier League centre-back. Won't let you down very often and will confidently compete with Courtney Howes in that backup role
Homegrown,
at Aston Villa. Yeah, so I think that is probably more where Aston Villa are thinking about spending money than a striker like Luis Suarez, who what role does he play? Like you've said, like Danny Ings is the guy who plays in the box. Ollie Watkins runs the channels. They've got an abundance of attacking talent in the wide areas. So to rotate the 5 they've got now feels like it's going to be a bit of an issue. Let alone adding Luis Suarez on 200 grand a week when Atleti need him to score goals against Man United in the Champions League.
Yeah. What the only thing that they could do here, like if Atleti were willing to sell, is they can offer him a long contract. Like that's the only way that they're going to get him out, right? Because it's like, because like we talk a lot about like, oh, why would this player want to go to a smaller club or why would they do this? It's like, well, because of length of contract and like money. Yeah. And so if they guarantee him this money over a longer deal, you can see him going for him, but they're gonna have to mortgage the future to pay for the present.
Yeah, I've seen him also heavily linked with Inter Miami out in America,
which makes more sense, right?
Is that in America?
Inter Miami. Like, well,
I think you're right. I think you're right there. Yeah.
To be managed by
we get somebody off camera.
It feels like that might be more the sort of destination that happens in the summer for Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
If he does get a longer term contract, he comes in. I think Inter Miami have just let their sort of, what's the bloke called that they can have
Higuain,
one that beats
the designated player.
Right, okay.
The DP.
Yeah, the DP. I think they've either let him go or something's happened there that's freed up a slot that Suarez was being talked up. I don't know MLS fans. You're going to have to let me know in the comments below. I don't watch any. I'm so clueless about MLS.
What would you pair play as your optimum forward then if you were Steven Gerrard?
Probably
forward line.
Like Buendia in the whole,
Yeah.
definitely. I think Watkins, Coutinho, and Bailey.
Okay.
I do the same lineup, but I think Coutinho has to go through the middle at this point. I don't think he's got the physical chops to play on the wing anymore.
I like Coutinho
and not,
better
and not
coming
when
off
you've
the
got Dean out there, who is like not a good defender. I don't think.
I think I'm a little bit warmer on Dean from a defensive point of view than maybe you are, but I would try him out on the left, and then absolutely, if that proves to be the case, look to phase
But
him into a central
Coutinho
area.
might end up being more of an impact player, and you might see Watkins play out on the left wings through the middle.
I hope he gets to fitness soon.
Should we move on to the next
Yeah.
suggestion then by the fans? And that was they would like to see Hazard to Newcastle.
Is this serious?
Really? You'd like to see Hazard to Newcastle? There has been reports by El Nacional. Anybody who listens to Euro Transfer Talks knows that's my most hated outlet. El Nacional shite, as usual.
Wow.
But they're proclaiming that talks have come to an agreement of 40 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons, which is just utter nonsense. El Nacional, hang your heads in shame.
I mean, Real would obviously say yes. to
Snap,
that.
Snap your
Crazy.
hand off, bite your arm off and your shoulder.
Because I think if
I'd love it.
What the fee from Chelsea could go up to 150, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
it's not going to meet all the various criteria that means it goes up to 150, but they're paid 100 at the moment to get half their money back after 3 years of absolute toilet from Eden Hazard would
his
be
wages off the
fantastic.
book.
Why would they do that? It's just
Florentino
never
Perez.
happening.
Why would
Newcastle don't have
Newcastle do it?
Newcastle do not have bottomless money. Like I know
They do have enough money to do that.
I actually don't think they've just
have
got
barely
endless
spent
money
anything.
when they've got to spend money in more important positions. Surely you would rather spend that cash at centre back.
I mean, he's completely the
I
wrong
think they're going to do
player
that as well.
for a relegation dogfight wherein the side can only retain 36% possession in any given game. I mean, that's improved since Eddie Howe came in.
I don't
but
know about that, you know.
you like this move.
Because what he is a guy who
This is
can.
one for the books.
What he is a guy who can create something out of nothing.
Sure.
Like he's not a player like. I don't know who a good example would be, but there are lots of like attacking midfielders or wingers who you have to get the ball to them in order for them to do something. Eden Hazard's not that guy. He can pick if he's fit.
Do you not think he's become more that
Huge.
guy?
Oh, I'm sure. But if he's fit, and if he can be fit enough for half a season, he can pick the ball up deep. Like a fit as I can see why they're dreaming on it, because he is actually in some ways he has that San Maximin thing where like he can get
But
the
that's
ball,
the issue,
you
they've
can
got
double
him.
up on him. Doesn't matter. He's got but they can't just have
They've
that
got
one
San
guy.
Maximin.
Yeah, but they need more than one guy.
But I would rather
Scoring goals is going to keep them in the division.
I would
More-
rather stick all of that money on Lingard than I would Hazard and play
all
him
of that
alongside
money.
San Maximin. Yeah,
I
we'll
would pay
take it.
10
Come on,
mil
come on, we'll
for
take it.
Lingard maximum.
And that'd be a great move for Newcastle. Better than spending 50 mil on Hazard.
He's not very good, is he, Lingard?
He's better than Hazard right now.
It's
Hazard
maybe,
can't,
maybe.
Hazard can't
How
play.
Maybe,
dare
but
you.
don't get me wrong. I think there's better value to be had. I think that they could split this fee and probably get two decent attackers who would stay with them if they were to go down and like would be good enough to contribute now. But like I can see why they think if we get like half the player that Eden Hazard was when he was at Chelsea, that would probably be enough for us.
I
And
don't
think
even-
they're probably wrong about. I think they're probably right.
He's not
about
even
that.
half that player at Real Madrid though at the minute. Like
He's twice that player.
Less,
I think you're right.
less minutes in the league than Rodrigo this season. I think he's like something stupid,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
16th for minutes.
Because he's always
Ancelotti
injured.
does not trust him in league play. He just had one of his better moments this season against Elche in the cup. The Copa del Rey scored the winner in extra time, so the wind in his sails a little bit. But yeah, physical stats non-existent. Like he's still a good passer. Like you said, he's still good at progressing the ball. But my issue there is like Newcastle do they have the midfield to ferry it to him? I
They've
don't
got
think
Sam
he's going to go
Maximin
and
to
collect
progress
it.
the ball.
I don't think he's going to go and collect it anymore.
But that's,
like he used
but that's
to.
the thing. Like I mean, I don't really know either. Like there may be nothing there. But if there is something, I can see why they'd want it. And like I don't know. I just
It'd be
think
exciting as hell.
Also, I think if you go to a club like Real Madrid, who actually have a bunch of shit that they need to get off the books, it would be quite interesting to go to Real Madrid and say, if we take this f***ing albatross like off you, then like, will you give us somebody else on loan? Because you know they've got centre back, they've got
Mariano Diaz.
they've got Mariano Diaz, like they've got
Every week.
they've got Ceballos who's just coming back from injury. He'd be pretty good for Newcastle. Like some of those guys who are like they're not necessarily Real Madrid standard, and they're probably not really going to go anywhere else in this minute. Even Rodrigo
I
himself.
like it. You want a package deal?
Yeah, I'd be like, we're going to take Hazard off your books.
Hazard's gotta wanna go, though.
And in response,
Yeah,
we want
and he
some
won't.
of these guys.
Why would Hazard want to go?
He won't.
Because they'll give him a long contract on big money. I don't think he will.
But he's on a long contract on big money.
I know.
He's
But
on 14 million euros
Yeah,
a
so what I'm
year.
saying is they'd have to offer him a longer contract
After
on
tax.
at least the same money.
I just-
But I don't know, man. Like, who knows why players do what they do?
For me, if I was
Newcastle's
Newcastle, I'd be focused. Hazard would be the bottom of my list of players.
But they're
going to
get a centre back. They're going to get Diego Carlos, and I also
they're not going to get. I think it's
somebody.
not as easy as it seems. Diego Carlos.
But I also think centre backs, like, look, get a centre back by all means, but like that is not generally the difference in a relegation battle unless it's an outrageous centre back.
They're conceding 2.5 goals a game.
Yeah, but I think that they can. I think the way to deal with that is not going to be like one guy comes in and fixes it.
They haven't signed a centre
like
back since 2018.
It's going to be a change of structure. I think if I were them, I'd be like, how do we get more goals in this side? And to be honest with you, I would not have gone for Chris Wood. As much as I think Chris Wood is fine, they spent a fortune on an ancient guy. Like, they could have gone and got like 3 attackers for the Chris Wood money plus this money, and that'd probably be enough to keep him up.
I would
And
absolutely
a midfielder. They could do it with any midfielder.
Yeah, they could do with a midfielder. I would be putting all of that cash into centre backs and left backs. Like, I think the whole back line needs reshaping. I think they need a goalkeeper before they need Eden Hazard. They need a defensive mid before they need Eden Hazard. I'd have Lingard before I got Eden Hazard. Let's go to another person that I've also seen
Madrid suck as well, man. They're terrible.
Let's move on because it's never ending. But another man that I've also seen linked with Newcastle this week, by the way. But the transfer you guys want us to talk about is Usman Dembele to Chelsea.
I'm so bored.
I'm slightly bored of Usman Dembele as well. He's, I mean, this week, if you guys haven't seen the reports already, obviously, Barcelona's directors have had to come out and say, look, we want him gone. He's refused to sign a contract. January 31st, he has to be out the door by that stage. Exactly. Xavi last night, I think it was, also came out and said, look, I haven't got a problem with him, but I'm in full support of the club. He's not a necessity to the side.
Well, it's come back into the news because they dropped him for the matchday squad against Bilbao, didn't they?
And then
in the cup.
Tough shit. You've given him a contract.
I know, but his contract's up in the summer, of course.
And exactly, he's perfectly within his rights to be like, no.
And he is kind of, judging by that statement he put out himself, is like, I'm still going to be battling to get into this squad. Like,
well, his agent was like, we're not going to be bullied. This isn't going to work. We want to make an extension work, but Barcelona
they can't
kind of want things all their own way. And you rarely know who to believe in that situation.
No,
Barcelona,
definitely believe the agent.
They can't
if we're believing agents over Barcelona, I mean, how emblematic of how far they've fallen.
They can't afford him. Is the simple fact. They're not. He wants like parity with an Mbappe level wage that they just are not going to spend on Usman Dembele, who has ankles made of baguettes at this stage and hamstrings made of course.
I don't know if he wants parity with Kylian Mbappe wage-wise.
He wants huge wage.
I don't know if that was put out there by Barcelona. He agreed to take
a
cut prior to them signing Ferran Torres and securing another $1.5 billion from the bank, I think.
But
and then it became another issue.
And they can't pay anyone. Like, even if you were like, I'll take 80k a year, they'd be like, ooh, I don't know, can you drop it by 30%? They've done that for like 3 times.
Yeah.
They signed Memphis Depay and then had to be like, oh, actually, sorry, before you've even played a game for the club, do you mind dropping your wages? Oh, and also we might try and sell you in January. Like, Barcelona, are they the least competent people in football? Like, with the exception of every referee who referees in the Premier League, like, they are literally the least competent people in football, I think. Like, they're unbelievable. And so I don't care. Like, stay there, take that bag, and then go somewhere
But for Barcelona, they have much bigger contractual priorities than Usman Dembele at that wage. They've got to renew Araujo, whose contract is up in 2023 in the summer, who's earning, by the way, €1 million a season. Which is an absolute disgrace for a player who started.
Let's calm down.
That's so low. That's insanely
poor guy.
low.
It's not a reflection of his status in the squad now. Maybe it was a year ago.
It's not Saturday social money.
I'll say that. That's outrageous. They've got to renew Gavi, who's got a €50 million release clause that's active in his contract.
Well, he's linked to Chelsea as well as Usman Dembele. Gavi's been linked to Chelsea.
And the reason this has become boring, right, is because Usman Dembele has never settled. He's had one decent campaign there, and he realistically could have left at any given window in the last 10 windows.
Yeah, but nobody wants him.
We kind of liked the links to Liverpool a few months ago. Like,
who wants
the
him?
only way we had any nuance to this whole scenario, him going to Chelsea, is like, will Thomas Tuchel try and unload any of his other wide options come the summer? Because like Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, Timo Werner aren't putting up the numbers, aren't getting consistent minutes, and it feels like something has to give with one of them. And I guess this adds or lends a little bit of legitimacy to going for someone like Usman Dembele. But is he going to wash his hands of one of these guys and bring in this guy for free?
But do we think Usman Dembele is at Chelsea's level now? Like,
I mean, if he's fit, sure.
It's a gamble you can make. Like, I'm not sure I'd do it for Chelsea. Like, if I were like RB Leipzig, I'd be like, let's take a risk. And if he's great, he's great.
I think maybe Bayern Munich is a better area where they pick up players on free transfers. They've had success with that, like reinvigorating players and wingers and stuff before. He wouldn't necessarily have to start every game. And we've seen Julian Nagelsmann rapidly improve the likes of Leroy Sané since he's come through the door. So I think Usman Dembele needs to be smart about his next club selection, because if he goes to Chelsea, I think he's a bench option.
But he's also a bench option at Bayern. He's not going.
He's higher up the pecking order.
He's not going to start. I don't know if he is. Like, I'd look at Gnabry and Sané and be like, not getting in over them. Whereas I'd look at Chelsea and be like, don't know. Like, because also the weird thing about Chelsea.
Sure.
Look, we've got to factor. You've got to factor into
natural winger.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've got to factor into Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi's numbers that like they have played some minutes, like at wing back.
Yeah.
But Ziyech, I think, has been okay. But Pulisic is a worrying situation. Like, Pulisic's dribble completion has gone down every year since he got to England. He should be physically improving, and his XG.
But he's not. That's the thing.
His XG's gone from 0.6 per 90 to 0.35 per 90, which is the same as Marcus Alonso.
But he's
this
not
is bleak.
physically improving. He's physically deteriorating. Like,
Yeah,
every time he picks up an injury, he follows that with another injury. When he goes away on international duty, he returns with an injury. He's had, I think, COVID multiple times, which is obviously not his fault, and he's struggled to recover from it at stages. He's obviously got injury problems that are endemic in his hamstrings. Like, is that the word, endemic? But every single time he
Recurrent,
recurrent. Every single time he has a hamstring problem, he goes away on international duty and it triggers it again.
Yeah.
Like, I think his physicality has waned so much now at Chelsea that I think he might be moved on in the summer.
It's a pity because he's an incredible talent.
I did think this about James Maddison though at the start of the season, and he's finally it's taken him 18 months to recover from that hip injury, which I thought was, there's an off chance it could be terminal.
But Maddison isn't competing with Mount or Ziyech.
Yes, of course, Maddison is going to get more minutes, but I mean, he is young enough to bounce back from an injury that looks, like you said, that's going to crop up left, right, and centre. But maybe if you're Thomas Tuchel right now as well, you've just played what is it? I think it's 18 matches in 59 days. You've had a tiff with one of your big money signings. Romelu Lukaku isn't performing. Do you actually think, do I want to add someone that's potentially like problematic issues with like training, how hard he trains, being on time for training, like being punctual for
Tuchel does know him. Like, Tuchel knows it.
Yeah,
he's
and
not
Tuchel loves
it.
Does he think I'll add a guy like that to my squad right now?
Well, it depends if he thinks he's that guy. Like, if he knows Usman Dembele, like, as a guy, he might be like, well, he wasn't like that for me.
I mean, to be fair, not to name drop, but when I interviewed Tuchel, I asked him about Usman Dembele, and he did say he was the most talented player he's ever worked with.
Interesting.
So
there is, I do think he would have him.
Adel Taarabt was very talented.
But I don't think that it didn't come across when I was speaking to him
like there was an issue. Pissed him off.
No, but it didn't come across like there was an issue with like behind the scenes where he didn't like him. He was a huge fan.
I just think they've got a bloated squad at the moment, haven't they? Do they want to add another potential narrative?
Yeah, I'm not sure
narrative to the equation.
Liverpool would make a lot more sense to me because like Liverpool are kind of going to try and cut costs. It looks like they might try and sell Firmino at a knockdown rate. Like that attack, Mane's taking a little step back. Like Jota's taking a step forward, but like it is thin. That attack, and so you can imagine them being like, we're going to take like a pretty low risk gamble on Usman Dembele. That would make a lot of sense to me. But I feel like Chelsea, you're right. Like the size of the squad, the amount of talent they have that's not getting enough minutes, it just feels like they're the worst of all worlds for Usman Dembele.
I don't get it. Yeah. Let's go to our suggestions then. Transfers we would like to see happen in this window. You're starting with Paulo Dybala to City.
Yeah, and this just struck me like a bolt of lightning this morning. And it's because I was watching some Serie A highlights. Of course, that clip circulated on Twitter, didn't it, of him scoring against Udinese when they won 2-0 the other week and giving Pavel Nedved a very steely glare after he scored. Now, this has come about. I think most big clubs would have just settled on the fact that he was going to be there for life. He said it repeatedly, hasn't he? Paulo Dybala loves the club, very much seen as that sort of heir to Del Piero, has been wearing the captain's armband at various points this season. I think a lot of big clubs were resigned to the fact that he was just going to renew his contract because there was a deal agreed in December. And lo and behold, Juve have gone back on it.
Yeah, Renee, I saw Fabrizio tweeting about that.
Yeah, and I think it's because of injuries last season. Only made 14 starts last season. Was still pretty effective. 7 goals and assists. He had a medial ligament injury that he had to manage, but his fitness is returning now, and as is his form. This season, he's been very, very good. And his fitness actually, apart from last season, in the 6 seasons prior to that, has appeared in 30-plus league games.
Yeah, it's good.
So it's never really been in question before. So you can understand why he's pissed off that that's being levelled at him now. Like I said, he's been absolutely fine at the start of the season. 10 goals and assists in 14 league starts. So yeah, it was basically Juve saying that they wanted to take maybe, I don't know, a year off the contract. Let's just speculate a little bit here and take some off the basic wage and maybe bump it up and flesh it out, but in performance related ways.
Yeah.
And he was just like, hold on, guys. I wanted what you offered before, like why are you taking that back now? And all of a sudden there's friction there. And I think Manchester City, he would crush it there. He's the ideal profile of player for Pep Guardiola, like a very willing presser, puts himself about, isn't an out-and-out number 9, but is still a goal threat from that reserved number 9 position or attacking midfield. Does have a tendency to shoot from absolutely everywhere. I think it's over 5 shots per night this season, with roughly 2 coming outside the box. So maybe you would have to...
Pep can coach that.
Yeah, you'd have to curb his habits to fit in with Pep Guardiola's system. But I mean, what do you boys think? I just think it's a match made in heaven, but it feels unlikely.
I do like the fit,
I think
especially...
Messi, it feels.
Yeah, I do like the fit, especially at the cut-down price. And following the sale of Ferran Torres, there is definitely a hole in that squad for somebody of that profile. I just think that they are going to save their money for the summer and look for the big boy. Like, they're in no, for Erling Haaland. I think they're just going to be in competition for Erling Haaland. They're going to save the big bucks. And whether or not they win that race remains to be seen. I still think Haaland's going to end up at Madrid, but they are going to gamble, I think. And if they don't,
Haaland's going to Madrid with Mbappe.
Yeah. I think they're both.
Christ.
Just got
the
a
most
gut
boring
feeling.
league in Europe.
Got a gut feeling that that's going to be
I respect
Galactico
it.
policy.
God, that'll be dull.
2.0. But I just think that if they don't get Haaland, then they'll reassess. And Dybala might be available on a free at that stage. If they don't come to a contractual agreement, you might just be able to say, okay, we didn't get Haaland, let's just go to the backup Dybala for a free. Or we can then go and get Dusan Vlahovic at an even lower price.
To be fair, I've not really thought about this as a January transfer, like something I could envisage happening immediately. Like you said, I think he would end up running down his contract because there's a high chance Juve just give him what he wants.
Yeah.
And that's the last time he signed the deal was 2017, but he's still on 220,000 euros or pounds.
Must have been a big old contract.
A week, which means he's paid more than most salaries at Liverpool right now. So, yeah, they threw the kitchen sink at him last time. Maybe because of the Super League fiasco, they want to rein that in a little bit. Haven't got the finances they once did. Are yet to unload Aaron Ramsey. Maybe if they did unload Aaron Ramsey, they could redirect some of that money to Dybala. I think Dybala wants to stay, but Manchester City could definitely make him a tasty offer. And what a plan B for not getting Kane, not getting Haaland.
Or Vlahovic, which I think they probably might also be interested in.
But yeah, he's just... Like, he will give you 15 goals and assists, and he's not going to cost you 100 mil up front.
Yeah, I agree. All right, my one I would like to see is Yves Basuma to Manchester United.
Go on then.
In January. I think now is the time for Brighton, perfection, really, for them to sell Yves Basuma, because it's a no-risk, big reward play for them. He's got 18 months left on his contract. They're going to be fully aware that in the summer, his value is going to be on its arse, the lowest it's possible to be, other than next January, in which case they just won't sell him in that window because it'd just be pointless. So now is the best opportunity they've got to make any money.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I don't think Basuma, he's a fantastic player and he's probably Brighton's best player, but I don't think he's the difference between, and I don't think selling him matters enough for the difference between, let's say they finish 9th at best, or 8th, 9th really, or 13th. That 4-slot gap there, does it really matter when you're getting 40 million in the door? Like, you could be 40 million in the door to finish 2 places lower, I think is a big win for Brighton, who have had financial problems post-COVID. They've sold Ben White, but they've still got, but they're still making losses. I think that they may as well sell him.
Do you go through Swiss Rambles Twitter every day? I swear you know the financial...
No, but I can't remember. Football Daily did a script on it recently.
All the dossiers of every top club.
I think it might have been a transfer talk recently. Somebody did that.
Would you have been an accountant in another life?
Definitely not. I've not got the patience for it. But I just think that Brighton could do with recouping that money, reinvesting that money in multiple players potentially, because their recruitment department has been fantastic over the years. And Manchester United... I just think at £40 million, I don't think there's many better options on the market right now than Yves Basuma. Like, he's not the perfect fit, but United need more than one midfielder. You know, Mata's going in the summer, Lingard's going, Pogba's going, Donny's going. That's 4 midfielders out the door, really. If you include Lingard, it's maybe a bit of a push. Matic might also leave. He is now, 33? So United need more than one central midfielder. And Basuma might not be the perfect fit, but he's a huge upgrade right now. It's an immediate starter for United and at least offers some defensive cover that we currently don't have from a defensive midfielder. He can progress the ball really well with dribbling at £40 million, Premier League ready.
Why isn't he the perfect fit? Who would be a better... What is the thing that he doesn't have or does have that's not great?
Well, I just think it depends really who the next coach is, doesn't it? Like, you could say he's the perfect fit for Rangnick in a 4-2-2-2 or a 4-3-3, but the next coach might come in and say, okay, I don't want just one sitting.
So you're more
defensive
saying you
midfielder.
don't know who is perfect at the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would be. It's a little bit of a risk, but at £40 million, you're kind of thinking he can almost fit in multiple systems.
Yeah,
He can play in a 2.
I'd struggle to think of a coach who wouldn't get some use
Exactly.
out of Basuma.
And he can play in a 2. He can play in a single pivot. Like, what's the downside for United? The only real downside is that United don't have much money to spend in this window by the looks of it. Sell Jesse Lingard for 10 million to Newcastle, take his $100,000 a week wage back into your thing, put that into Yves Basuma, and then split the difference on the fee. I think is just smart business. So I would go Yves Basuma to United as my transfer.
All right, then. So say Basuma and Haidara cost the same money. Haidara feels like Rangnick's man of choice, but you're saying you'd pick Basuma.
Yeah, I would pick
Over
Basuma over Haidara. I think United needed a bit of an immediate boost to hit the ground running straight away, and I think Basuma provides a more immediate 6-month boost. Basuma might be the difference between United getting top 4 and not getting top 4. People will laugh at me about saying Man United getting top 4, but
I don't think they've got prayer.
not a million. I don't think United are a million miles away from clicking, and I think they are about a defensive midfielder away from
The second half against Brentford is promising. Yeah, for sure.
But United can't put
the
together
first
90
half
minutes, though.
was
Can't put
atrocious.
together 90 minutes. I just think that Basuma would be a huge difference maker in the immediate. And the next coach might not want a Haidara profile that plays in that role. Might prefer Fred to play in that role, for instance. Whereas Basuma is vastly different. So I would, I would. It just doesn't feel like much of a risk.
Isn't it? I tweeted out this morning, maybe to be a little bit inflammatory, to poke Man United fans a little bit. But I was like, every Manchester United fan that is getting hung up on signing Basuma should be more hung up on getting a manager like Potter. Now, if you're going to get Pochettino, then fair enough.
But I think United are going to get a manager like
because having watched the last 2 Brighton games, I watched Alzati star in DM against Chelsea, and I watched Adam Lallana put on a show against Crystal Palace in what was probably one of my favourite games of the season, the 1-1. Brighton should have won both, by the way. Classic Brighton. But it does make me think, like, would Yves Basuma be the difference maker in a side with an okay system or just a decent manager?
But I think the point is that in the summer, it is going to be a project manager. It's going to be one of Poch or Ten Hag.
Yeah, if you got Poch, then what I've said is mostly a moot point.
So I think that, Basuma, like Pat said, I think Poch would enjoy a player like Yves Basuma. Like, there's no doubt about that. So I think Basuma to United feels like a cost-price cut-price defensive midfield opportunity for United that people should just should be all over.
Fair enough.
Okay, is it mine? Well, unfortunately, I'm going back to Chelsea, but that's only because I've seen this rumoured, which is Frankie Deyoung to Chelsea.
Can you give me a bit of context about his season at Barca? I don't get why he's not held in high regard now.
Well, I mean, he did have a slightly better 2021 than 2020. But really, you'd have expected to see an uptick in his numbers since Xavi got there, but you haven't seen an uptick in any numbers since Xavi got there. They're actually creating slightly less XG, they're conceding slightly more, their expected points are about the same. Now, they're getting the run of the green a little bit more than Koeman got, and so maybe it seems like they're doing better, but I really don't think they are at all. And fair enough, it's early days, and they're trying to change style again. But Frankie de Jong should be a guy who can start for basically any kind of manager. Yeah. Like, he had decent defensive numbers in the Netherlands, unbelievable engine, great dribbler, great passer, incredibly intelligent, really rangy. And yet he just never has really caught fire there. And
strange.
I don't know, like, Barcelona fans will always tell themselves a story that makes them feel better about being Barcelona fans. So they'll always say, like, oh, well, he used to be the star and now he's at Barcelona. There are many stars. Are there? There aren't any stars at Barcelona anymore. Like, or this idea of, like, players being overawed or whatever. But, like, I don't know, man. Like, it reminds me almost of Pogba going back to Man United, where there was a point where you said this guy could become anything. He could become the best all-round midfielder in the world, and instead, what he became was a creative passer and lost basically every other aspect of his game because he didn't have a good manager who could actually structure play for him, and he became more of a problem than a help in lots of ways. Like, it was hard to fit a team around him. I don't want Frankie de Jong to go the same way, but he's 24, and if you look at his numbers this season, still a good passer. Not outstanding, good. Still a good dribbler, not outstanding. So dribbles used to be between 3 and 4 per 90. It's down to like 1.4. Still good, not outstanding. He used to be a guy who got the ball into the final third 10 times a game. Now it's down to 6. Still very good, not outstanding. Defensive numbers are so bad this season. Like it's actually kind of troubling. Like he's making about 10 pressures per game, which, like, for context, puts him in the bottom 2% of central midfielders across Europe. The bottom 2%. And he's making, I think, 2.6 tackles and interceptions a game. That's in the bottom 20% of midfielders. So that's putting more and more pressure on 33-year-old Sergio Busquets, who's been great this season, but great relatively speaking. Barcelona aren't a very good side. Like, so I mean, I just kind of look at Deyoung right now and I'm like, what is this? Like, are you being turned into a guy who's like a great passer and a great dribbler, but a complete passenger defensively? Because actually, while that was our perception at the time, Xavi and Iniesta were never those guys. They always chipped in defensively.
And Frankie has a history of chipping in defensively. Like, he's been played at centre-back at times. His defensive output's that good. I also think he's hurt a little bit by the pressure of Pedri and Gavi coming over his shoulders, them being Spanish, and sort of this young crop that's being brought through. I think that adds pressure to Frankie de Jong. I don't know whether he's enjoying that.
But
much.
They are different kinds of players. Like Gavi is more of a wide guy, I guess, or more of a link player to the attack. Pedri is certainly more of a link player to the attack. So you want De Jong playing like a little bit deeper there. You want defensive midfielder, then De Jong, then Pedri. But like what his numbers look like right now is Arthur Melo. You know, that's what they look like. Where he's a guy who, like, when he's on the ball, super ball secure, like good ball mover, good passer, defensive numbers, absolutely nothing, no physicality. But there's no reason he should be that. He's Dutch, he's massive. Like he should be.
He's got the Ajax curse, mate.
He should be able to like run through. He should be able to race through the field. And so, what I want from Frankie de Jong, look, do I want players to go to Chelsea and be good? No, I want Chelsea to be garbage forever. But I do want good players to be good because I want football to be good. And actually, right now in Europe, I think there's a dearth of really good sides.
Get him to Bayern.
There are 4 good sides in Europe right now.
Under a manager as well that packs the midfield. He can say Manchester City, Liverpool, Bayern.
Get him to Bayern. Get him to Bayern.
Or Man City. Or Man City.
Bayern have a dearth of central midfielders. They've got a problem in that area. They're having to play 16-year-olds in the midfield at the moment because they've got so many injury problems and COVID problems. Overall, the midfield looks very light. Like, it's no surprise that they're having a little wonder about Naby Keita. Frankie de Jong would be sensational in the Julian Nagelsmann system, progressing the ball.
But equally, like, I mean, if he replaced Gundogan, like, at Man City, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
Like, there are lots of clubs he could go to where I think he'd be good, you know. But I don't know. He definitely needs a structured team. He needs somebody who's going to take him in and essentially rebuild his confidence, because this has been a dream move that has been an absolute calamity. Because he said at the time, he was like, when I was young, my dream was always star for Ajax, go to Arsenal under Wenger, then go to Barcelona when I'm ready. And obviously, you know, Arsenal were kind of crap by that point and Wenger was going. But like he said when he went to Barca, he knew he was jumping this step that he'd always imagined taking. And now I wonder if he thinks, I should have maybe taken that step to really solidify the player I am.
Did he just love Mark Overmars growing up? Is that what happened?
Well, I mean, we had Overmars, we had Bergkamp, we had Van Bronckhorst.
Frankie, De Ligt,
De
Van der Beek.
De Ligt's form has stabilised at Juventus. And I think Juventus are currently unbeaten in 8, so the fans are off his back a little bit. But yes, he has a similar problem.
They have had a rocky,
arrived
the post-Ajax life has been rocky.
They both arrived for big money, and the fans were very quick to jump on their backs when it didn't pan out, rather than sort of question the management.
The post-Ajax life for these boys, even Davinson Sanchez as well, that has been rocky for a lot of these Ajax players.
But De Ligt and De Jong, like, they both arrived at clubs which were incredibly stylistically different from the Ajax they were playing for at exactly the wrong time in their history. Like, it was 2019, wasn't it? Like, this was an awful time. Juve have been terrible since. Like, Barcelona have been a mess. And so, I don't know. I just think that I think you're right. I think Bayern would be great for him. I think Man City would be great for him. I think Chelsea would be great for him. Liverpool would be great. Like, he should go to a super club with a manager who knows exactly what he wants from his midfielders and is going to say, you know what, you're a great ball mover. Like, you've got an incredible engine. I can see something in this, rather than guys like Xavi, who annoys the piss out of me because he's one of those classic managers in the kind of Mourinho mold, who he's just like, you need to give me more. You need to give me more. Like, he just needs to show us more. It's just like, well, yeah, but if he isn't showing you more, it's silly to just sit around whining about how he's not showing you more, as opposed to trying to find a way to get more out of him.
I actually think I prefer your Manchester City shout to Chelsea, because just if Kovacic continues to play how he is, maybe that would block him. Yeah, exactly. Graduating to the first team or getting a bunch of
and
minutes.
They've got Conor Gallagher coming back.
Though that midfield is getting old. Like, Conte is 30 now, I think. Like, Jorginho is up there as well. Like, Kovacic is 28, I think. Like, I mean, that's kind of it.
They probably need
and Gallagher's not the same.
A more lights out defensive presence, than maybe an all-rounder like Frankie. But you can see them selling him to facilitate a move for someone like
Yeah, I
Alvaro
totally
Morata, who Xavi is obsessed with. Obviously, that lends weight to what you were saying, in that he's just kind of obsessed about making the Corda side Spanish again. Like, fair enough, it worked for them in the past. He's obviously reverting.
Is there not better options in the market than Alvaro Morata?
I think Morata's fine.
If you want to get Danny Olmo, sure.
It's a goal and assist every other game for him at Juventus this season. I think he is a little bit better than people.
But is that not why they bought Ferran Torres?
Credit for exactly. He took the words out of my mouth. Like, if you're going to play Ferran Torres down the middle, if you're going to pay 55 million for him, Alvaro Morata makes less sense.
Ferran Torres, Memphis Depay, Ansu Fati,
do you know that Ansu Fati is still Barcelona's second top goal scorer this season, despite only starting 3 games and being out with like a knee and hamstring injury.
Yeah, and Depay is their top scorer, despite the fact that they're trying to get him out.
And they want to flog him.
They're trying to ship him out.
Should we carry on with a couple other rumours, or should we move on to quickfire questions? What do you boys want to do?
Yeah, maybe rumours, because quickfire.
All right, let's do a couple more then. Paredes to Spurs. Now, this is an interesting one, because the Ndombele klaxon is ringing finally for Tottenham fans that he's going to go, by the looks of it, on loan to PSG with an option to buy and them covering his full wage. So if that is the case, Spurs fans rejoicing at home, no doubt. But there are also rumours that they've been offered Paredes as part of this deal. What do we think?
Well, I said to you before we started shooting, didn't I, that I would expect some money to be added in that fee because he's 2 years Ndombele's senior. You flagged that Ndombele is probably on superior wages. I counted a little bit with like PSG don't give a shit about wages. I think if Tottenham ask for the 10 mil, PSG will likely give it them. And then that makes the whole thing look like a win-win for all parties, which is so rare when it comes to swap deals. Like, this makes so much sense that it probably won't fucking happen because football is dumb.
Does it make that much sense?
I think it does, yeah.
He's the passing hub of the side. They've already got great defensive output in Højbjerg and Skip. Like, they're just ball progression is terrible. Paredes will need to do a lot more than he's doing right now at PSG under Conte, that's for sure. They will fall out quickly. Like, he's in the bottom 5% of midfielders when it comes to defensive pressures, for example. However, the guy is sexy as hell on the ball, mate. Unreal.
No doubt. But
he was a good defender.
Underrated.
Do you not think that...
And at Zenit, actually.
Do you not think at Tottenham, what Conte is looking for from that midfielder, like...
The ability to pass.
It is obviously to drive the ball forward. I think that is very key.
Højbjerg's having to do everything at the moment. The guy's going to explode.
I'm not sure Tottenham fans are the biggest fan of Højbjerg.
Which is mental because...
Well, Paredes is a more talented Højbjerg in a lot of ways.
And do you honestly see a world where Højbjerg and Paredes and Skip play in the same midfield?
No, I don't think Skip plays.
Skip has to play in that. He's been Tottenham's best midfielder by miles.
I don't know if
when they weren't very good. Yeah.
Are we misconstruing form with ability?
Skip under Conte is playing really well.
I don't think that's true. But I don't think that Conte will care. Like, if he likes Paredes, he'll get Paredes in and be like, "You're going to be my Brozovic." Højbjerg is just going to buzz around being a problem, and then he'll want more attacking player, and that's never going to be any of those guys.
Højbjerg is much more droppable than Skip for Conte.
Well, that's fine.
At the moment, yeah. I think in general, perhaps not. What I would say is it's probably the death knell for Lo Celso getting a meaningful amount of minutes.
Though Lo Celso is the one player who does something none of the rest of them can do, which is one dribble, though Paredes can do it.
But he's too unreliable. He can't be trusted.
Sure, but if he's fit, like, he gives you at least something else. You see why you'd have him in the squad. Whereas when you've got a bunch of these players who are all the same, I'd be like, right, we've got Winks, we've got Skip, we've got Højbjerg, we've got Paredes. Like,
yeah, but I would say
Winks out to like Newcastle or something.
But Winks is playing much better than Lo Celso for Tottenham.
I know, but you can't have like 4 guys in the squad who all have the same.
And I would much rather get rid of Lo Celso than Winks right now at Tottenham.
Well, that's fine. If you can get rid of him and bring in someone who can do what he does. But given that you can't do that, you've got to work with like it's the art of the possible.
Is Paredes the guy that can do that? My thought remains that he would rather shift Ndombele out on loan and then have a pick of a market rather than being sort of shoehorned into a Paredes deal because it's the PSG links. Would he rather identify a player?
They're doing the money though. But they're doing the money. Like, as in, if they get rid of Ndombele and there's not a player going the other way as part of the deal, I don't think they've got enough cash lying around to just go and get a midfielder. If they do have that cash, they're going to use it on Adama Traore. Right?
Yeah, they are.
And that
definitely.
It's that caliber of player as well. They're not that available at current. I think Doogie tweeted it this morning, shooting this on a Thursday, obviously, that like none of the top teams are doing business in January. Like, if you want a player to come in and make the difference between, 6th and 4th place, then Paredes is a good compromise versus like not being able to get that guy from a big club right now.
And if it solidifies your place in the top 4, like, look, you don't necessarily want to do stuff like that in January just, for this season. when you're committing yourself long term to them. But when you're in a really tight race for top 4, you'd be tempted to be like, we get on Dembele's wages off the books. It's like 300k a week or whatever. Like, let's just do it.
He's going to play better than Dembele is for him, isn't he?
Well, it's not hard. I play better than Dembele.
I would back you.
You try harder.
Yeah. Maybe one more. Let's do one more transfer because the quick fires, we've kind of already spoken about Dembele, and one of them is about Dembele, isn't it? Let's do Andrea Belotti.
Oh, God. Who cares?
I actually like him. I've always liked him. The Rooster, mate.
He's never been great, though. He's
As a backup to Kane.
He's exactly backup level.
If
That's exactly his level.
Paratici can convince him that he'll get a decent amount of minutes, come in and be
He
back
won't,
to
though.
Kane. Yeah,
He will. in
Well,
cups.
it's his Belotti's last big deal, isn't it?
They're only in one cup.
I
He's
don't
never
see,
had any big deals.
I
It's
don't
his
see
first
him.
big
They're
deal.
only in one cup.
Is he 28?
No, but like they will be in cups going forward, won't they?
But are we saying Andrea Belotti on a long-term deal? Because I think that's just...
You're not going to get him out on
He's
loan
only like
for
28,
half the
29.
season.
Yeah, but why would they want to target a 29-year-old backup and pay whatever it's going to take to get Belotti out?
No,
Is he out
his
of
contract's up at the end of the
Okay.
season.
And
If
it's
he's
a
out of contract,
nightmare
then that's
it's a nightmare to get somebody in to be back up to Harry Kane, no matter.
Yeah,
no
I
matter Harry
agree.
Kane's like,
Totally agree. But I don't think Belotti's the guy who's going to come and sit on the bench for 38 games a season.
Also, if I was him, would be reluctant to commit to that. But he might, if his options are slim, come the end of the summer, it might
didn't
be
realise
one
he was
where,
out of contract either.
Tottenham swoop in, and he's put up double digits in his last like 5 campaigns. For them.
There's no doubt he'd be a fine backup, but why? I just don't get why he would ever want to do that.
because he's never got his big move. He's been at Torino.
But is
forever.
Tottenham the
He's
big
been-
move?
It is relative to anything else he's going to get. Like he can say, look, if I'm going to have limited minutes, you need to give me more money. You need to give me like a golden handshake.
Mate,
And,
over
like,
in Italy,
realistically-
he'll end up going to Inter and he'll stumble
won't-
across AC.
there's
They're
got
all
no-
inbreeding over there, mate.
But
with
he's
each
like
other.
28 and he's never had a big salary.
Well, he'll end up stumbling across one in Italy.
No, but you'll never get. No, but even if you're one of like the best earners at one of the biggest clubs in Italy, you'll earn less than you do as a backup at Spurs.
At Leeds.
Yeah.
I also saw Frank Kessié linked to Spurs today, like quite heavily.
That
they're
makes a
gonna
lot more
pay-
sense, like skill set wise, right?
That they're going to pay quite like to get him out now.
We spoke about that on the How to Fix, didn't we, Kessié, to Spurs?
We did, so we won't go back over trodden ground. Let's move on to quick fire questions then. This guy with loads of numbers and letters in his handle says, what player is probably most underperforming this season?
Have you got any scripts that kind of relate to that?
I think first and foremost springs to mind is Marcus Rashford. And there's obviously plenty of reasons for that. He's been overplayed over the last few seasons. He's had significant injury problems. He's had surgery on an ankle problem, surgery on a shoulder problem. He's extremely low on confidence. You can tell that massively when he's on the ball. He's been played in multiple systems, in multiple positions, right-sided, up top, in the hole, on the left, under 2 different coaches. Didn't really work out for him at the Euros. So I think it's been a really hard 6 months for Marcus Rashford. I have no doubt he's going to bounce back to being to being a real top-level talent. But I just think it's been a 6-month problem for Rashford that's kind of just boiled now. And I really hope that goal against Brentford kind of tips him back on track.
We were chipping in our ideas for your script, weren't we? The players that are quickly becoming average, one of our bitchiest top 10s in recent memory. And once we got the ball rolling, there was a few that came to mind. Like I was obviously speaking with my Leicester head on when I was like Kasper Schmeichel, Ricardo Pereira. It's shocking what's happening to him.
But when you've got like 6 players underperforming, who's the guy who's really underperforming?
Yeah, relatively speaking, I suppose they've been.
What's gone on with Leicester?
Rodgers has done a terrible job for 2 years now, and it's just like they're getting worse and worse. And I know they've had a lot of injuries in that time, but
it's
they
the goals
have
conceded.
been embarrassing.
I just don't know how they haven't
3 years.
fixed that problem.
Should we do a How to Fix on the podcast?
What, Leicester? Just get everyone fit.
Everyone
just
fit.
give everyone like stem cells. And,
Get
like, sort
Fofana
them
back
out.
at all costs. Should we finish with a personal question then from Swaggerto, who says, what's one thing you're looking forward to this year?
Why don't you start with this? Because you're trying to cut negativity out of your life, aren't you? So, like, what's the...
Am I? I'm the most negative man about Manchester United ever, so it's pretty much impossible when we're playing like this.
You're
every
quite
week.
cheerful, though.
In general life, I'm trying to be more positive, yeah. So
Okay.
I'd say that.
Apart from when I asked you to bring your laptop to shoot.
Yeah, that's just winding you up.
A 20-minute debate on WhatsApp
rattled
last
him on
night.
there. Get him on the hook.
Fucking pissing me off.
I rattled him. Being a prick is not like you're rattled.
I know.
You're like, you're being a prick.
He ended the conversation, just put 1-0. And I was like, okay. He's won it.
It's
He's
so
won it, has he?
awful, man.
What did you say you're looking forward to, apart from being more of a prick?
No, just being, I suppose, looking forward to
you know what's been impressive? You going to the gym every morning at 6, or at least 4 days, 5
4
days
days
a
a
week.
week.
I didn't
4
think
days
you were
a
going to
week.
keep that up, and you
4
have
days
done.
a week.
Fair
Yeah, I
play.
do imagine you being the kind of guy who like really struggles to stay in bed. I imagine you waking up and being like, oh, like having a lot of nervous energy.
Oh no, I could just snooze. Honestly, I'm a snooze.
I'm imagining you like a puppy.
I'm
where
a
you're
big
just like,
snoozer.
"Fucking-"
No, I'm a big snoozer.
Chloe, are you awake?
No, I'm a big snoozer. I struggle to get up, but trying to have more structure in my life. Go on, what about you?
That's good.
I'm actually looking for my friend's wedding who was cancelled last year has been given the green light last minute this year, South Africa, April.
Where?
So really looking forward to that happening when he's going to
South Africa.
3 places. Kruger,
3-place wedding.
Wine country.
Franchuk,
Nice.
and somewhere else.
Nice.
Frenchuk, nice. Better?
Just probably
It's actually
seeing
not bad.
the same thing I look forward to every day. Just seeing more of my baby.
Oh, very cute.
Seeing my little girl. Like it's genuinely the best thing in the world.
There he goes. Pato. Get your tears in now.
Heart melter.
Get your tears
Get your
in.
tears in the comments now from
Yeah.
Pato. Anyway, that is it for another episode of Sunday Vibes. Remember to check out good old Manscaped. Yeah. Didn't forget the name of the product there. I was just giving it a little bit of emphasis. 20% off all products, by the way, and free shipping.
Gonna have to give them
Manscaped.com.
20% off their fee.
Football Daily 20. Get some of this. It smells fantastic.
Yeah, something that Patrick Van Straten has christened fine or coined fine.
Coin fine, and
That's not
doesn't
bad.
give people headaches. By the way, that's not a disclaimer. I just get a bit
Cures
headachy.
headaches, if anything.
Yeah, I just get a bit headachy around strong cologne.
Nasal, weren't you?
Yeah, nasal. Anything you want to plug, lads?
I don't know. Is
Team
that- oh,
Talk, episode
yeah.
3.
Good
the one.
shout. Team
Trying to
Talk
remember what it was
episode
called.
3. If you haven't seen it already, we kind of debate Team of the Year. Pato has a whiff and says Jack Grealish should be in there. Absolutely disastrous. Sam Obaseki totally loses
Oh
his
my
head.
God.
Definition of rattled that he wasn't that one.
Sam Vasaki is like, he's like, what happened to him was like what happened to Spurs when Arsenal cancelled the NLD.
Shocking.
I've never seen somebody abase themselves in public to the level that he did.
Absolute head's gone. All right, that's it.
Oh,
Thanks very much for watching, everybody. See you later.
Bye.